How have you been? Oh my goodness. This year has been it's been a crazy year, but it's been very fulfilling, I would say. To see the things I have accomplished and to actually believe in myself and know that I can do anything. Oh my goodness. It has been it has been such a blessing. And I'm here to share that with you. But first off, how are you? How is How is 2025 treating you? I really want to know. And if you're listening anywhere else other than YouTube, guys, you should see my little setup I have here. It is so cute. I love it. You know, as women, they say that we have a level of discernment. That is what we're going to be talking about today, discernment. To put it into perspective, you are the judge. You are the one deciding if you want to do this particular thing this person asks you to do, if you want to give your time and your energy, if it's worth your attention. A lot of the times we have trouble trying to figure out if it is worth our attention. A lot of the times we say yes. To be honest, we say yes because we want to be likable. We want to be able to show up because we believe if we show up for people, it means something. It means something on a different level. And when I say show up for people, it means you are putting yourself, your needs, the things that you need to accomplish on the back burner to attend to someone else. And then you're left overwhelmed, feeling frustrated. Even though in the moment you're doing something good, you're not prioritizing yourself. And this is why we have to discern if this really worth our time, our energy, and our effort. So today we're going to be talking about three things: how to protect your time, how to protect your agenda, and how saying no can actually lead to your yes. Let's talk about it. How do I protect my time? I mean, your time is the most valuable asset you have. Listen, your time is the most valuable asset you have. And if you're working a regular 9 to 5 time, those pockets of time, whether you have before work or after time, those are so precious that you need to protect it. Okay, if you're not working at 9 to 5, but you have a 24-hour job, like a stay-at-home mom, and you know I will always touch on that. If it's a stay-at-home mom, you're constantly going. What time do you have? And then you have those small pockets of time that you have. What are you going to do with it? That is your most valuable asset. You need to protect that time. Because on these times, that is the time, those little pockets of time, that is the time you have to figure out what you want to do, figure out where you want to be, try to figure out working on your creativity, working on your business, or maybe just relaxing because as a full-time mom, you just want those times. You just want that me time. You don't want to see anyone. You don't want to be around anyone, even if you just want that pocket of time for yourself to just relax and let your mind flow. Those pockets of time, consider it your asset, most valuable real estate, okay? Let's just take it one step further. When you are a perfectionist, right, you want to be able to give much. You want to be able to make sure the task is done to perfection, right? It's done beyond just getting it done. So let me just do, you're a perfectionist, so you give a lot to your job. And this is for person, especially who have that 9 to 5, who give so much for your job. Even after you clock out of work, you are still in work. You are still working. Please, your time is valuable. Remember that. So you are a perfectionist. You give so much. And then you realize, oh, I need to give a little bit more and a little bit more. So when you reach to that level and that cycle continues, you become burnt out. I've known people who give so much of themselves that they don't have nothing left to give to themselves. They give so much to the work. And this is not just physically, it's also the mental aspect because a lot of us struggle within our job and we wonder why. We are going, and you know what they say? I don't know why. I go above and beyond. I go above and beyond for them. Yes. And nothing is wrong with going an extra mile. If you continue to constantly do that each and every day, go above and beyond, you're gonna reach a point where you are burnt out, like I've heard many times. And not only burnt out, you do not have the energy for yourself. So even though when you get that pocket of time, you literally mentally drain. and you can't do anything else. So those dreams, those goals, those aspirations, everything that you have in your mind, you can't physically work on it because you're mentally drained. So you are not progressing in the way you want to progress because of your dedication to your employer. That dedication you have towards your employer, if you can just switch the arrow so you can dedicate as much time to yourself when you have those pockets of time, you're going to see a absolute difference in your behavior, your mental aspect, your physical aspect, everything. Because now those time is, you stop giving all your time to your employer and you turn the arrow and you start giving yourself, you start pouring back into yourself. And this, it could be whatever project you're working on. It can be maybe starting on your own business, trying to do research to figure out what is the most profitable way to go about doing X, Y, and Z business. Or maybe you just want to work on physically, you just want to work on yourself. Okay, so now I can actually take that time to go to the gym to put in a workout to work on myself. And as you know, when we do those, it's not just the physical aspect we're working on, we also working on the mental aspect. Now because now you're seeing yourself differently. So this is why you have to protect your time. Right, so what can you do? All right, you need to literally become the scientist of your life. You need to be looking from an outside perspective, inwards, and trying to figure out, okay, what are those pockets of time do I have? Identify those pockets of time. Okay, between the hours of 6 to 7, I don't know, or 5 to 6. Then maybe lunchtime, you have a break, okay? Then probably on the way, when you reach home, just look at those pockets of time each and every day, because every day might be different depending on you. And when you can identify those pockets of time, you become more intentional now, because you realize, okay, I have time in the beginning here, I have time some here, I have some time here. I have some time here. What can I do? And now you assign yourself things to do in those pockets of time. So you are being intentional about what you need to do, because when we are intentional, we are able to see the results. So be intentional with your time, because that is your most valuable asset. I have to say, if you truly want to see some kind of change in your life, you need to be selfish. Selfish in the sense that you know that there is a greatness inside of you that needs to be unleashed. But in order to do that, you need time to feed it and to grow it so that it can be unleashed. And how do you do that? Those pockets of time. Because that greatness is not going to just pop out of anywhere. You have to nourish it. You have to feed it. You have to work on it. You already know that there is something burning, that burning desire to do the business, to do a career switch, to do whatever it is. But in order to do that, those pockets of time is so crucial, because now you set aside what you're going to do in this pocket of time to feed that desire so that it can unleash. And when it unleashes, you're going to see the difference. Oh my goodness, you're going to see the difference. Which lead me to step 2, how to protect your agenda. Now this, in order to protect your agenda, you need to have one. You need to know where your goals are. Let's just say you want to help postpartum moms because you have been through it, to help them understand the difference of them before pregnancy and their postpartum body right now and what is happening with them, so that they can bring into perspective everything, right? You're going to write a book on that, so you want to empower moms and help moms. So yeah, you have to know, okay, where your mission is and what you have to do, which means you have to be a leader. And what does leadership means? Sometimes you're in it alone. Sometimes you are out in the cold and you're alone, but you're doing it. And it's sad to say, it can be a very lonely experience, because you'll be working on something and your spouse mightn't understand what you're doing. Your close friends mightn't understand what you're doing. They might even think, what's going on? Like, what's going on with them? You know what you're about, you have an agenda and you're working towards it. And like I said, sometimes you might be left alone. But you have to be okay with that. You need to be okay with that in order to push past. All right. So there's a reason why I said you have to be a leader for yourself, not necessarily for others. Because if you're not a leader for yourself, then you're a follower. and that's not gonna get you to your goals. And that is one way you wouldn't be protecting your agenda, because someone is gonna come in and say, "Oh, you are absolutely amazing at editing videos. Can you edit a video for me?" And the first thing you're gonna be like, "Yeah, sure, I can do that." Now you see where we lying, you see where we going, because you like, and you know what's crazy? I'm telling you this, and I need to take my own advice, because recently I've had someone they did the same thing with me. Like, I love editing, I love editing, and I love doing playing around with different things. And I remember I am a very busy person, and I have very limited time. This particular individual asked if I can do something. Honestly, I don't have the time. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I can do it. Of course, of course." That wouldn't be happening again. And so I have to remind myself, you are not alone if you've been doing it. And it is literally, you have to be working on yourself to recognize what you're doing. Because if you don't recognize what you're doing, you will continue to be doing it, right? So I had to recognize that, but I already said yes. So I'm going to follow through on that. I feel like it's okay, I can follow through on that. But moving forward, I'm able to discern better, I'm able to recognize. And that would lead you to sometimes saying, "No, unfortunately, at this current time, I'm unable to help you in X, Y, and Z." And that is okay. You need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with saying no. Yeah. And let's go even a step further. You're working, you know what you want, you have it in your mind. Okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z. But for some reason, you don't have the courage to take the first step, and you are consumed with your current job, and you are a perfectionist. So guess what? You're trying so hard to perform that to the point where you're burned out. And then someone swoops in and say, "Hey, you are good at X, Y, and Z." But remember, you had your dreams of running your own business in whatever the case might be. Okay, let's just say your photography business. I don't know, filmmaking, photography business. And someone say, "Hey, you're really good at this. Can you? I'm gonna pay you X, Y, and Z. Come work for me. Come make me rich, and put your goals at the side, or sweep it away, or even what here? What's best? Even forget about it, and you decide. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let me. I'm making X amount of money more. It might be a little bit easier. Let's go over there." That is why step one is important, and very much so step two is important. Discernment, and also being able to know your agenda, what you're about, what you want to accomplish. Because if you don't know, there's a saying, if you don't know what you want, you will fall for anything, basically. And then you're wondering, yeah, I have all these dreams, but why haven't I accomplished anything? Because you lack discernment, and you did not fully understand your agenda. Which lead me to saying no would actually lead you to a yes. And what I mean by this, we could go over so many different things, but I am not the only one who have been on a path, and then there's numerous things pop up. Let me give you an example. Let's just say you have been wanting to provide for your family, okay? You have been wanting, for example, I have been wanting to do stuff to provide for my family even more. And there is so many different things that popped up. And at one point, I was grabbing piece from here, and I was grabbing piece from here, and I was grabbing piece from here. Yes, I was making a little here, a little there, a little, a little everywhere. But at one point, I had to stop and ask myself, I know my agenda. Is any of these propelling me to my agenda? And the answer was no. But, and in my mind, I was like, but it's giving me a little money here, a little there, because I want to provide for my family. I want to do certain things, and I'm getting that instant gratification, that kind of like that feeling. And I had to allow myself to say no. Yeah, and I had to tell myself what it is you really want to achieve. I had to reevaluate. And sometimes we might have to reevaluate certain things and make tough decisions. Discernment, agenda, saying no. All right. Those are the three things you're going to be doing. And for me, I had to say, okay, I am a person, for some reason, I have all these different goals that I want to achieve, which is great. But sometimes you just need to focus on two or three, which is very hard. And so now I had to make that decision that yes, I want to, it would be nice to do X, Y, and Z, which wouldn't get me to closer to my agenda, but it will get me a little bit of, or do I focus on something that brings me a lot of joy? But no. And I had to make, that was a tough decision. And that is why you see in this video, because this channel, Mind Your Space, it holds something dear to me. And every time I push away from it, oh my goodness, the Lord just brings it right back to me. And I had to realize that within my journey, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be. And it took me a very long time to realize that. And some days it can be difficult. You need to realize that sooner than later. Sometimes it's not what you want in terms of monetary, but it's what you need. I was able to discern. I was able to set my agenda, and now I'm able to say no to all the different distractions that is not in alignment with my agenda. So this is why you need to do the same thing. You need to be able to discern. You need to be able to set the agenda so that way you as a leader and not a follower, okay? And that way people don't drag you away from your purpose, because deep down you know you have a purpose. In order to step into your purpose, you need to be intentional about your time. So these pockets, you need to be intentional about it. And sometimes that means saying no. Once again, if you reach this far, if you're watching from YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and follow. And I really appreciate you being here. And remember, this is how you're going to mind your space.